Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back. I'm Sara Hamdani and we were studying Introduction to Genetics. This is the third part of the video series of Introduction to Genetics in which we will be studying about Mendel's laws of inheritance. Mendel's laws are based on inheritance. What is inheritance? Inheritance is a transfer of traits from parents to their offspring in one generation to next generation, and it keeps on transferring. Okay, this is how a child receives genetic information from their parents. Okay, the whole process of heredity is dependent on this inheritance only, and this is the reason due to which offsprings look similar to their parents. Okay, this is all about inheritance. Now we will see what are laws of inheritance and how they came into existence. Okay, so Mendel's laws of inheritance came into existence by his two types of experiments. First one was monohybrid cross experiment, and second one was dihybrid cross experiment. Mendel selected a garden pea or sweet pea plant he called as Pisum sativum. He selected this plant for his experiments because it was very easily available plant, and its cultivation is also very easy. So he selected this plant, and so this plant was selected, and he took every record and studied it later, and coined three laws. Okay, so first we will see what is monohybrid cross. In pea plant, Mendel selected seven characters which were having contrasting traits. Okay, so out of them, when he selected only one character, for example, considering of height, so height had two characters. One was short, or we can say dwarf. Another one was tall. Okay, so Mendel selected height character. This height character means only one character. That's why it is called as monohybrid cross. He took two plants. One was dwarf plant. One was tall plant, and he crossed them. And he studied the F1 generation. F1 generation. What is F1 generation? It is the first filial generation, or the first generation when he crossed the parental plants. Okay, so what he got in the first generation, he got all the plants which were tall phenotypically. Okay, word phenotypically is important because genotypically they were not only capital T, they were capital T small t. Means genotypically they were hybrid and phenotypically they were tall. Okay, then what did he do? He self-crossed all the F1 progeny he obtained through parental cross and called this thing as selfing. Okay, after selfing, he obtained F2 generation and studied about their phenotypic and genotypic character. He found that phenotypic ratio was 3:1, out of which 3 were tall and 1 was dwarf. Similarly, genotypic ratio was 1:2:1. This is how monohybrid cross occurred, and he coined several laws from that. Now we will see what is dihybrid cross. Okay, before going to dihybrid cross, we will see diagrammatic presentation of monohybrid cross. See, capital T that represents tall plant, small t represents dwarf plant. The parental combination undergoes gamete formation. Capital T, one has been come from male parent, one has come from female parent. Either of one can be female and either of one can be male. Okay, then zygote formation takes place, and then F1 generation occurs, all were tall, having capital T and small t genotypic. Okay, then he did selfing of capital T, capital T, small t, and got gametes. After gametes, he, with the help of Punnett square method, got F2 generation. That ratio, as I have said earlier, is given here. You can see in detail what was genotypic ratio also. Okay, this is all about monohybrid cross. After monohybrid cross comes dihybrid cross. Di means two. Similar to monohybrid cross, as he selected only one character, in dihybrid he selected two characters. One was pod shape, another one was pod color. In this cross, he selected round and wrinkled shape pod and green and yellow shape pod. These were contrasting traits of the characters he selected. Okay, so he crossed wrinkled green seed and round yellow seed and observed all the F1 generation. He got all were yellow and round. This means yellow color is dominant and round shape is dominant. Okay, then he self-pollinated the F1 progeny and obtained F2 generation. In F2 generation, he got different four types of combination. First one was wrinkled yellow, then round yellow, then wrinkled green, and then round green. The ratio was 9:3:3:1. This is how he completed a dihybrid cross. Now we will see diagrammatic representation. See, capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. This is what round and yellow, small r, small y, green and wrinkled. Gamete separation occurs, F1 generation is capital R, capital Y, small y. Then selfing occurs and fruit generation is obtained. You can say genotypic combination and phenotypic combination. Okay, this is all about dihybrid cross. We will see how laws were coined and what are these laws which were obtained from these crosses. Okay. So first one is law of dominance. Actually, there are three laws out of those two experiments. First, we will study law of dominance. Law of dominance. Dominance, it is made from the word dominant. Dominant is the one which get expressed in phenotype even when the combination is hybrid genotypically. Okay, the one which is expressed is called dominant, and the one which is suppressed is called recessive trait. What this law states is hybrid offspring will inherit only the dominant trait in their phenotype. So what I told earlier, this is what the law says. The one combination which is dominant will be expressed phenotypically, and the alleles which are expressed are called dominant traits. The one which gets suppressed is called recessive trait. Okay, this is what the law of dominance says. Now next to law of dominance comes law of segregation. Law of dominance is first law and law of segregation is actually the third law. We will study first, third and second because first and third laws were based on monohybrid cross and second was based on dihybrid cross. So law of segregation. Segregate means to separate. As we have seen the crosses after parental combination for gamete formation, separation of gametes occurs. Okay, so this is what law of segregation is all about. It states that during the production of gametes, the two copies of each hereditary factor segregate so that offspring acquire one factor from each parent. This is known as Mendel's third law of inheritance. Means from parental combination, one gene comes in zygote formation from female parent and one comes from male parent. This is how both the parental combinations occur in the child, and this is called law of segregation. Okay, next is law of independent assortment. This is second law of inheritance. Assort means to sample, okay, or to group. What happens in law of independent assortment? See, this is related to law of segregation only. In law of segregation we see there is occurrence of segregation. This is about monohybrid, but when it is in dihybrid there are not any single character, there are two characters. So this law states that a pair of trait segregates independent of other pair during gamete formation. Means if there are two characters, it will not depend on each other or for their segregation or separation process. Okay, this law is all about that. Both the characters will separate or segregate independent of each other. Okay, as the individual hereditary factors assort independently, what happens? Different traits get equal opportunity to express themselves together. Okay, this is all about law of independent assortment. Then next we will go to the diagrammatic representation of law of dominance. See how tall plants and dwarf plants are crossed and occurring, or plants are all tall phenotypically. Similarly, white and purple flower giving 3:1 ratio of flowers, and this is all about law of independent assortment. All three laws uh, given there in diagrammatic representation. You can see and cross match it with the laws for understanding it better. Okay, we will conclude this lecture over here, and we will be continuing with further lectures soon in future. Okay, thank you so much.